all right. Let's get into it. Didn't hear no haters yesterday about the Steeler-Raven game, so I guess now he's all realized that Steelers are legit. And then the best part is that everybody said, are the Steelers going to make a move before the deadline? They did, and Avery Williamson is in the Berg now. Man, what a fleece of a trade that was. Literally just swapping 2022 5th and 7th round picks. Edge more depth at that inside linebacker position. I think Spillane's still getting the start there, but now you can rotate him out with not only Williamson, but you do it with Highsmith too, or whoever you want to use in that spot. Great move, love it. Sure, Jets fans aren't happy about it, but guess what? Your team's 0-8. You're just gonna friggin' trade everybody off now, get rid of cap money, which they actually restructured this kid's deal. So we only got to pay him like $1.45 million. So it's a steal. It's a steal of a deal. You make that 100 times over. That's not even like a 9 out of 10. That's a 10 out of 10 every time you're gonna do that trade. Last night's football game, the Eagles-Cowboys game, was everything you would expect it to be. You got this DiNucci kid out there throwing sidearm balls like he's Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite. And the ballsies. I'm surprised that Philly didn't have more interceptions. If that's what we're going up against next Sunday, good luck, DiNucci, because you're going to get eaten alive all day. Amari Cooper was not even existent in this game. Philly pretty much shut Zeke down. They did get creative with the playbook in the beginning, and then they kind of just, they got away from it. You gotta, if I'm Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy, you gotta make a deal today for a legitimate quarterback, because DiNucci is not it. Does he have a bit of zip on the ball? Yeah, I'm sure he does, but when he's throwing the most dangerous of passes, even worse than when Favre would just sling it out there and go, hope it gets to somebody. No. They got to go get a legitimate quarterback. If I were you guys, I'm calling Miami like hours ago. And what's it going to take to get Fitzpatrick in a Cowboy jersey? Probably not going to take much. Probably the same way we got Williamson. Flip draft picks, whether it's this year, next year, the year after. Maybe you have to kick in some cash, whatever it is. But DiNucci's just not the answer there. Unless the Cowboys at this point just want to tank, try to compete with the Jets for the number 1 pick. Bills-Patriot game. Cam Newton with the fumbles again. At least this time he dove on it, unlike in the Super Bowl, where he decides not to dive on it because he was afraid of Von Miller. But I gotta give Cam credit because he takes it on himself. He didn't pass the blame. He knows it's on him. What New England does from this point on the rest of the season, I say ride it with Stidman at this point. I keep reading that they're going to have a fire sale. Everyone's up for grabs. So let's see who they're willing to give up. Who knows? Maybe the Cowboys can call and get Cam. Who knows? And then the Niners-Seahawks game was everything I expected it not to be. I thought it would be a close game, but again, Garoppolo re-aggravates that ankle injury that he previously had. Kittle gets hurt, which is a huge blow for him because, the people's tight end, as he likes to call himself, he got banged up in this game too. And then they put Mullins in. And honestly, in San Fran, you're not winning that division anyway. It's going to come down to, obviously, Seahawks are running away with it. Rams really don't have a shot with it. The only one who give them a run for their money is really the Cardinals right now, and that's surprising to say, considering the fact the Cardinals have really been a disappointing team for years. But, I think they're getting it right over there now. So, it's going to come down to the Seahawks-Cardinals, but we all know what's really going to happen. Seahawks are going to take that division. Cardinals come out of it with the wild card, hopefully. Again, the Dolphin-Ram game, And everybody hyped up Tua. It's Tua time. But if you look at Tua's stats, they're really not impressive at all. Only 93 yards passing. Miami's defense won you that game, Tua. So I guess we'll wait and see what you do in the next one. Hopefully a better stat line, something more impressive where everybody can hype you up more. Just don't hype yourself up like Baker did, please, because Baker this week, got humbled when, losing to the Raiders. Again, thank you. I love watching Cleveland lose. Nothing in Cleveland has rocked ever. So, that being said, but I'm still loving this Williamson deal. Still, it's just amazing. And I already know one Jet fan's mad about it. But hey, it is what it is. When your team's 0-8 and you want to try to build for the future, this is what you do. You get as much cap space off your books as you possibly can, and this is what they had to do. It's interesting to see though if they're going to move Quinnen Williams because from what I'm reading, they want like a second round pick for him. You're not getting that. You're not getting a third. What it's really probably going to be is you're probably going to have to move him the same way you move Williamson. You're going to have to. You have to just flop late round draft picks for him because Quinnen Williams has really done nothing for you anyway. You just gotta. At this point, the deadline is over. I think tomorrow, like 4 o'clock, whatever it ends. You're going to have to take what you get. You're going to have to learn from the fact that when you tried to trade Le'Veon, you asked for way too much, you didn't get it, and you walked away with nothing. And you're still paying the guy $20 million, which is funny because he was the highest paid Jet playing yesterday that plays for the opposing team. It's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do. Really haven't heard any rumblings other than going after Galladay from Detroit, but yet no headway on that one. You gotta, if you're a team that's 1-6, 0-8, 2-4, whatever your record is, if you think you could build for the future through your draft, understand this. It's going to take more than one draft to fix the team. The Texans, I don't think JJ wants to be there anymore. And again, it's a shame that Deshaun Watson is wasting his prime on a team that was so promising until Bill O'Brien destroyed it all. The same thing could be said for, even Odell Beckham is an example. In the other videos I've said, that Cleveland's probably going to move on from him. The rumors are getting stronger now that they probably are. If I'm Odell, I want out. You turned 28 like last week. Heal up from the injury. Go to another team. And just know your role in it, though. You may not be the number one wide receiver for whatever team you go to next, but hopefully he goes to a team where the quarterback can utilize his weapons, because Baker Mayfield looks utterly clueless. And, Cleveland's an organization. I don't think they're ever going to get it right. You brought in Landry, you drafted Njoku, you have Myles Garrett, you signed Kareem Hunt, which you didn't know what Kareem Hunt you were going to get because he was out for like a whole season with his little personal dilemmas back then. But you have all these weapons, and then you have a mediocre quarterback at best who doesn't know how to utilize them. If I'm Cleveland, I start Case Keenum this week. Baker just ain't getting it done for you. And that's just what you got to do. You give Case Keenum a shot. The guy brought Minnesota to the NFC Championship game. Keenum might provide that spark Cleveland needs to maybe sniff the playoffs. And then in the Steeler-Raven game, and for the life of me, John Harbaugh I can't stand either Harbaugh, whether it's Jim or it's John, because they're both overhyped coaches, especially Jim, but we'll get to that one later, or in another video. Whining and crying at the end, as well as Ravens fans, that was helmet to helmet by Minka. When you're both making a play on the ball and there's incidental contact, it doesn't warrant a flag. So, shut up, you lost, just take it in stride, and that's that. I see Ravens fans on Twitter posting, it took Judon getting ejected for hitting a referee. Listen, bottom line is this: I don't know what that whole scrum was about on the sidelines. And I get he's being held back by his coaches and he's trying to flail his arms and he hits an official. But listen, you still got to be aware of your surroundings regardless. I get a heat of the moment, adrenaline pumping, but still. Any contact with an official, you know you're getting thrown out. You don't blame that one on Pittsburgh. Blame that on you and your own actions. Saying that we were getting calls in our favor. Bro, listen, first off, we ain't never getting a call in our favor. Not once in all my years of watching Steeler football have I ever seen a call go our way. We all remember the phantom pass interference call on Joe Hayden against the Saints, right? Yeah, we remember that one. Yeah, that wasn't pass interference. You know, I don't make excuses when my team loses. I'll tell you why we lost. Ravens fans, you just need to realize you lost. Lamar Jackson wasn't Lamar Jackson. We brought him down to life a little bit. Tomlin said it best. We respect him, but we don't fear him. And you don't. Pretty much Tomlin's telling you he's not a legit quarterback is what he's telling you in the underlying meaning of it. I'm not saying he's not a good football player. He's talented as hell. He definitely, when the ball's in his hands, you don't know if he's running it or if he already handed it off. He's very elusive in that way, and I give Lamar credit for that because I watched him when he played in college at Louisville. But again, he's just one of those mobile quarterbacks that eventually is going to have a short career span because he's going to take that one hit. And he was looking for a penalty on one where he got utterly friggin' smacked up. And Tony Romo said it best. I don't know why he's looking for a penalty there because when you leave the pocket and you cross the line of scrimmage, you're fair game. That's it. That's it. You don't be looking for a penalty. I see quarterbacks do it all the time when they run. Which also, too, when you're sliding. And it happened in the Seahawk-Niner game where there's one guy on the Niners, I forget who it was, he just decides to, dive right on Russell Wilson after he'd already slid. There's no need for that. And what else there isn't a need for? And Javon Wims in Chicago. What was that? Runs up to, I forget who the guy was on the Saints. He's just standing there minding his business. And something happened to play before with this cornerback and Fuller on the Bears. And for the life of me, he just goes up to him, pretty much turns around, punches him in the helmet. First of all, what's punching somebody in the helmet going to do? What's that? He's wearing a helmet. So he's already protected in the head-face area. And then he's swinging on him like they're in a boxing match. And then gets ejected. And you already know that's going to be a multiple-game suspension and a hefty fine. That's already coming. But I just never understood that. Why you wearing helmets? Why are you punching people in the helmets? You're going to break your hand. You're just another moron for that. And not only that, there's no need. There's no need for that. Whatever happened the play before, you know what your revenge statement is the next one? Getting a big catch and scoring a touchdown and shoving it down their throat. That's what you do. And again, the Saints, to barely beat the Bears yesterday, is telling you, with this Sunday coming up, with the Saints playing the Buccaneers, I don't think the Saints get the better of Brady and company this time. Like I said, once Brady gets hot and the win streak comes, it's really hard to stop him. But then again, who knows? They might get Michael Thomas back. It might level it up a bit. I think the Saints should go and get somebody in the deadline, whoever it is. You need something on the offensive side. You need something on the defensive side. I start calling around. Apparently, J.J. Watt right now, from what I keep reading, it's down to the Seahawks and the Saints possibly trading for him. And he bolsters your defense if he stays healthy, but that's the key. Does he stay healthy? What's it going to take to get J.J. Watt? He's going to command a lot to bring him in. It's not going to just take swapping picks and doing whatever. It's not going to be that. I would love to see him in Pittsburgh, but I don't think we have enough to really go and get him. We really don't have the cap room to even pay him. I'm surprised we don't have the money to pay Williamson at this point. If the Seahawks get J.J. Watt, that defense just got 100 times scarier. And then in the let's see here. And then the Jets-Chiefs game, right? I get they don't have a lot of weapons, but Mims is finally playing, and he only has 2 receptions for 42 yards, right?
Why?
the Chiefs' defense isn't that great to begin with. That Darnold should have had a better stat line. Um, but you're not going to win games. And Adam Gase said everybody's got to keep working together to get better. Yeah, we get that, Adam Gase, but guess what? I think you lost the locker room. At this point, you had to have, because I don't think anybody wants to play for you anymore. And you say, Jim, every video you somehow managed a way to trash the Jets. It's not trashing it when it's truth. Okay. Bottom line is, Gase does not have the pulse of the locker room. I don't think he's had it for a while. Just start Flacco the rest of the year, because you're really hurting Darnold's. You're really just hurting everything with Darnold, his value, everything. I get they said they're not going to trade him before the trade deadline, but at this point, if I'm Darnold, I want out now. I just want out. Even if you take a role as sitting on the bench for a year or two behind, a Roethlisberger, or going to San Fran and being put in the starting position until Garoppolo comes back. And I'm sorry, Niners fans, you had a better built team last year. I don't think Garoppolo gets you the championship. It apparently shows he can't stay healthy. He's very inaccurate at times. He's very hot and cold. He's just not getting you. He's not getting you there. And I get it. You got 13, 14 guys on IR, but you know what though? Every person who stepped up has managed to fill in well for them. So I will give credit where credit's due. And then to switch off a bit from football, I got a message from a friend of mine last night with the Yankees, right? And DJ LeMahieu. He's like, bro, all they offered him was 1 year and 18.9. Yeah, it's called a qualifying offer, and this is how it works. You offer him the cheapest deal you can. We all know he's not going to sign it. So now that makes him a free agent. If he signs with any other team, we get a draft pick. But we know it's not going to happen. We know the Yankees are going to offer him exactly what he wants, and he's going to sign with the Yankees. So, Yankees fans, please, calm down. He ain't going nowhere. I'm 99% sure of that. That's just how qualifying offers work. And you could say the Yankees are dumb for doing it. Well, don't blame the Yankees for doing something that MLB and the Players Union and owners all approved of. Because every team does it. The Mets are going to do it with Stroman. They're going to offer him a qualifying offer. He'll deny it. And then we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, though, because somebody posted on Twitter, it doesn't feel like football season with baseball off season and all the interesting rumors, the sale of the Mets and the drama behind that. No, it's still football season. It's just baseball off season always conflicts with the NFL. It's just been like that since the coming ages of Moses. Okay, it's just it. There's a lot of decent free agents out there. That I saw. Obviously you got Bauer out there, Didi's out there. Again, and then my friend goes, if we don't go and sign J.T. Realmuto, first off, he doesn't want to play in New York. I'm not signing a catcher for $200 million who's 30 years old, who maybe has 5 years left. And you don't even know if you're going to get a good 5 years out of him. I'm not paying $200 million for that. We have Sanchez, we have Hichikawa. We're pretty much fine in that position. If you want to get a catcher, you get Zunino, who played with the Rays. You get a good defensive catcher. Financially, it makes sense because he doesn't command a lot of money. Charlie Morton's out there as a free agent, as a pitcher. I'd snag him up. Probably not going to cost much to get him. And then, my friend goes, well, I don't understand. I had to explain the qualifying offer to him at least like 15 times. And I don't know what you get and what you don't get in it. It's a qualifying offer. Okay? It don't mean anything. It just means you're extending an olive branch in a way. And what you're saying is, hey, listen, this is what we're offering. We know you're not going to sign it. It's a bullshit offer. Everybody knows it. Okay? So, but like I said, don't worry. LeMahieu's not going nowhere, and that's just that. And he goes, well, and then he was like, well, what if we don't get Trevor Bauer? I think we're fine in the pitching department. Obviously, we got to bring back Tanaka, and they make that a deal. You'll probably hear about that one soon. And then he was like, I'm glad they got rid of Gardner. Listen, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard a Yankee fan say in my life. Gardner has been consistent since he's come up. Uh, he plays that small ball, baseball, bunts. You know, he's still got the speed. You know, he's gotten older, but he's still got the speed. He's great in the outfield. His arm in the outfield is weak, but I'm sorry, that's a guy. If you don't have to play him every day. Probably bring him back on a 1 year, $5 million. If you're thinking about him playing another year after that, you know, put in a team option for another like $5 million. Put in some incentives in there that pretty much you know he's not going to reach. You know, when it comes to Yankee baseball and the off season, it's always interesting, especially when there's big name free agents out there. You know, are they going to get this guy? Are they going to get this guy? You know, what are we going to do? And the Yankees don't really have to make a lot of moves, unlike other teams. Because we pretty much have the outfield solidified. Even if they don't bring back Gardner, in a hypothetical situation, we don't bring back Gardner. We still got Frazier. And my friend goes, I don't get why they don't put Stanton in the outfield. Listen, I don't know what Yankees baseball you've been watching since we got him, but he's a liability out there, and he doesn't stay healthy when he's out there. And it's unfortunate that he clogs up the DH spot because you literally have to take his bat out of the lineup to give somebody else a half a day off. That's just with that. But he's like, I don't get why we can't trade him because it's a hard contract to move for a guy who hasn't produced the value of the contract. Again, if you want to move him, you're gonna have to just buy him out, and that's it. That's just what you're gonna have to do. If you're a Yankee fan and don't understand that, then I don't know what Yankees baseball you've been watching lately. But that's just the way that one's gonna have to work out. No team's taking that deal with what he hasn't been able to do. You know, we'll see what he does this year. It's going to be interesting to see how baseball is this year. Are there going to be fans, limited fans? You know, because you got to hear the MLB, you know, they lost all this money in revenue. But you know what? So did every sport. Basketball missed their target by like $3.1 billion. And basketball is interesting, too, to see when it's going to start because the players don't want to start till January. And possibly a 50-game season. I think, honestly, you obviously can't start it now. If you start in December, a lot of guys on the Lakers said that LeBron's gonna sit out a month. Whatever. That's gonna be a whole nother video. Basically, the whole debate is gonna be another video coming soon. But with basketball, Brooklyn, I'm surprised Mike D'Antoni took an assistant coach role, being a head coach for so many years. Maybe he's finally realized that he's never going to bring a team a championship with his coaching style. And it's not to say he's not a bad coach, but Brooklyn, if Kyrie and KD can somehow play together, and I don't know how it's going to work, but if they both stay healthy, Brooklyn's a team to be reckoned with for at least the next 2 to 3 years. You know, they got Dinwiddie, Jared Allen's a pretty decent center for them. Do they need 1 or 2 more key guys? Yeah, where you get them, maybe in the draft. Who knows? The Knicks is always, you know, they're talking about bringing Chris Paul in, getting Carmelo. You know, Tom Thibodeau even came out and said that they're willing to take on an undesirable contract to bring in key players. That's all well and good, but you're trying to build this team for the future. Why are you going to bring older guys in? What, because the fans are bitching and yelling? Well, I don't think these fans have cared who you brought in for years because they just expect you to bring in nothing but crap anyway. And in the draft, it's going to be interesting to see who they draft. Like I said, I really didn't follow college basketball this year, so I couldn't really tell you other than Anthony Edwards and LaMelo probably going to go 1 and 2. LaMelo's father came out and says he wants the Knicks to draft him. Why? So you can friggin' be annoying here? Nah, no thanks. Friggin' stay in your hole somewhere and just shut your mouth. If I'm basketball, though, if you don't start it by Christmas, because that's your biggest rating day of the year is always Christmas, you have to start it by December 20th in order to possibly even hit your friggin' revenue target. And, you know, if football's allowing X amount of fans in each stadium, then I don't see why basketball can't do it, and I think they do it. It's just a matter of, it's just a matter of how many, because you're gonna have fans back at some point in some capacity. It's the only way you're gonna really make money. And I get teams in every sport, they get TV deals, so they get their money from that. Um, but your main revenue source is us, the fans. No matter what sport it is, because we go to a game, we're going to be the idiots that pay a car payment for a beer and a hot dog. We're the idiots that are going to buy overpriced merchandise there. We all do it. I do it. You do it. We just all do it. Like even like with the Super Bowl, it's going to be a 20% capacity. But there's going to be revenue generated. Not only that, but by the NFL will make its money back based on the commercials alone. The Super Bowl is the biggest money generator that there is. Other than the New York Stock Exchange, it makes a shit ton of money. But that 20% capacity can change depending on, a lot of things around, Corona and whatever else. Now, speaking of that, and I noticed yesterday a lot of these coaches not wearing masks on the sidelines. I don't get, maybe it's just because they took it down, they're talking to the microphone, whatever, but if I'm an NFL team, I would go the Andy Reid route and the Anthony Lynn route. Just wear the shield. Just wear the shield. I get it's annoying. You gotta wear this big thing on your face, but isn't it a lot easier than pulling your mask down every 2 seconds to rant and rave? And speaking of Anthony Lynn and the Chargers, because I watched that game yesterday, and Charger fans could say, the offense blew the game, but then what game were you watching? Because the defense blew that game for you, because Justin Herbert did everything he could to put points on the board for you guys. He's a promising quarterback, and he's definitely going to be a top-notch quarterback for the next 10 years. People could say it's going to be a fluke and he can come back down to earth next year. I don't think so. I think the kid's legit. He's very legit. But your defense blew that game for you. And you knew what was coming. You knew what was coming after that pass interference call. Which again, why is it in other games it's fairly called, and then some of them I question it. I kind of question that one in the end zone, but they really didn't show me a good angle to see to kind of argue it, so I'm not going to argue that pass interference call in the end. But I'm just trying to figure out why is it in a Steeler game it barely gets called when we're on offense, but it gets called constantly when we're on defense. You could tell me, I'm being a conspiracy theorist. The NFL's out to get the Steelers. No, it just always works out that way. But again, Chargers defense blew that game. They just did. Giving up big passing plays. You made Drew Lock look like he was Johnny Unitas out there, just zipping it wherever he can, whenever he wants to. And they got to get something right there with the Chargers as far as defense. Offense, I think you're fine. You got some guys that are filling in well for your injured running back. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams there are a good combo set. But again, for the fans I'm seeing on Twitter saying that this is the offense fault, no. And Anthony Lynn doesn't get enough credit because he could have sat there and threw his defense under the bus, and he took the blame. He said, I fully take the blame for this. This is my fault. This is my responsibility. And he's right. He's right. It is his fault because he should have coached his defense a lot better. And he didn't. Defense should have played better. And I get it. Bosa's out, and and you could tell that they're missing him. But still, you got to have the next man up mentality, and they got to, the next guy's got to step up. He's just got to do it. You see it in Pittsburgh. We lose Bush. Who's going to play now? And Spillane stepped up. He stepped up well, which, and fans on Twitter that I follow that are Steelers fans like myself, they're like, well, now what does this mean? We're getting Williamson. It just adds more depth is really what it does. It spells Spillane on certain plays so he's not out there constantly. You could give him a 2-3 series break and then rotate it with Williamson and Highsmith. And by the way, speaking of that, if you're a Steelers fan and don't think the Highsmith interception is the key point of the game, it is, because it gives Ben the field position he needed to score the touchdown, to bring it down to 3, and then just let Ben go on the run that he goes on. Because I saw some Steelers fans go, "Oh, it was a lucky interception." Listen, Highsmith got beat on that same play prior and adjusted to it. What does that tell you about the kid? What does that tell you? He learned from one mistake and learned it quickly, adjusted, fixed it, and made a big play. Again, I keep saying it. Highsmith's he's going to be a problem in this league. Just give him the playing time. He's going to prove all you haters wrong. And again, I like the deal that Colbert made. He's managed to fleece a lot of teams out of draft picks and get rid of. He did it with the Raiders with Antonio Brown. Colbert's he's just very smart when it comes to making moves. And he's one that doesn't get enough credit. And then another person doesn't get credit is Tomlin. And I think everyone's starting to see it. He has the most wins as a minority coach, passing Dungy yesterday, which in my eyes is a huge accomplishment. For others, it may not be. If it isn't, well, I'm not even going to say it. Tomlin doesn't get the credit he deserves. And I think it's time that everybody stops hating on Tomlin, whether you're a Steelers fan, not a Steelers fan. I think it's time Tomlin gets his due. He's not overrated. He's very underrated. And I think he gets hated on because, the Steelers as a whole are now the most hated team in the league. And it's because, and I'll explain, and it feels simple, because we're doing what other teams can't do. We're actually winning games, and you could say it's overachieving. We're beating the teams we're supposed to beat. We're playing the way we're supposed to be playing, and that's just it. And they probably took that poll in Cleveland and Cincinnati and Baltimore for Pittsburgh to be the most hated team. Pretty much this: hate us because you ain't us. That's it. There was a lot more I wanted to get into. I know the video jumps around a bit. It's early in the morning. I'm still trying to wake up, but I figured I'd just put one out anyway. Just go over some things, whatever. Tonight, though, you got Bucks Giants. If the Giants could somehow beat Tampa in this game, it shows you something. But I wouldn't expect it. But hey, if the Giants could beat Brady, it gives New Orleans a little bit of momentum going into Sunday night. But the key is they need Michael Thomas back. And when you play Tampa and New Orleans, like any other team who's ever played against Brady, the key to beating Brady is keeping Brady off the field, not giving him enough time on the clock to possibly win a game, and you got to score. You got to keep scoring. You got to keep your foot on the pedal. You can't give Tampa no chance. Can't give Brady no chance to really be on the field a lot. So you're really going to have to control the clock, and it's going to have to be time possession. You're going to have to ram it down their throats. Kamara's going to have to run the game of a lifetime. You're going to have Breeze is going to have to throw pretty much a mistake-free game. The defense is going to have to play a mistake-free game. That's the way you beat Brady. That's the same way you beat Aaron Rodgers, which was surprising that Minnesota won that game. But hey, Dalvin Cook ran all over him. He had like 226 total yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't even know. Kirk Cousins to me though is still trash. He didn't win you that game. Dalvin Cook did. But like I said, tonight the Giants got to put an effort in, at least keep up with Tampa. Defense has got to manage to step up, and it's not really that great of a defense this year. And like I said, it's going to be an interesting one. If the Giants could somehow win this game, it still kind of keeps them in the race for the NFC East. Barely, but it does. But again, nobody's coming out of that division with a winning record. Nobody. Whether it's the Eagles, the Cowboys, they're just not. And if I'm the Eagles, I'm sorry, Wentz isn't getting it done. I don't care what you say. I could just see it. He's just not getting it done. And I think you gotta give Jalen Hurts some more snaps. You drafted him for a reason. If you draft him just to sit the bench for the next 5 years, you're just wasting half his career at this point. I'd give him a start. Let him start. See what he can do. You never know. You just never know. I mean, look what happened in Pittsburgh 14 plus years ago. Tommy Maddox gets hurt. Roethlisberger comes in, takes him to the AFC Championship game. You never know. You just never know. But I'm going to get ready to go to work. Till later on, tomorrow. Stay safe. Peace.